I really hope that you guys will enjoy this interview. I literally didn't sleep last night. I've been nervous. I've been going over the questions in my head. I've been questioning the questions because I don't want to ask her anything that is too sensitive. I don't want to ask her anything that is not in the public domain yet and possibly get her into any trouble. So yeah, guys, I'm on my way to her. I'm stuck in a little bit of traffic. I'm very nervous. I am late because I had another engagement before this engagement. So I really hope that everything goes well. Gonna get her flowers and a bottle of bubbly to sort of ease into things. And yeah, I really hope you guys enjoy today's episode. And please drop your comments down below and any questions you may have for her. I will make sure that they get to her, and I'll make sure that, we have a follow-up interview where she'll share with us progress from the last time we met. Bye. See you soon. Hi Lerato, welcome to the Sister-in-Law YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your time and for agreeing to see me at, it was short notice because we literally decided last night that today is the night. But I'm so grateful that you didn't put it off until next week because I wanted online tomorrow. So just to tell you a bit about myself and the platform, I'm Debelo Mutwane. I'm an attorney by profession, and I run a platform called Sister-in-Law. Literally like sister in the legal field. Yes. But I've also become a sister-in-law to many. People have come to depend on me. People have come to ask for advice that goes beyond just the legal profession or advice that goes beyond just women's rights. And I consider this platform to be one which is dedicated to empowering women through legal education, because whether it's a divorce or child maintenance or your partner passing away, your husband passing away, it's always women who find themselves on the back foot. 100%. Always women who inevitably end up being bullied by the families of their partners or the families of their baby daddies or the families of their husbands. So that's the driving force behind this platform, and that's the driving force behind me reaching out to women such as yourself, who are literally the voice of the voiceless, through the double HP case, which is being dubbed the double HP case last year. You stood up and you stood assertive. You didn't back down. You didn't stand down, and you're basically just the modern Winnie Mandela. Have you heard that often?
Yes. Do
you consider yourself to be an activist, and obviously your intention was never to get a level of fame from this, but your intention was to assert your rights. Yes. Correct. In everything that you've done in the past year, no matter what anybody wants to say, no matter what opinion people may have, your main driving force behind everything you've done was to assert your rights. Absolutely. As a wife. Yes. And as Lerato. Yes. Okay. So obviously I'd like us to take a journey, because all of this didn't start when Double HP passed away. May his soul rest in peace. But I'd like you to take us on a journey on when did you guys meet, how long ago was it, and Facebook, like what were the conditions of your meeting?
It's actually such a serendipitous story, because we've always lived such parallel lives without even really realizing that. I think I met him in maybe 2002 for the first time, and a lot of my friends were rappers, musicians, DJs in that space, and obviously we ended up being in the same circles. And like I wasn't checking for him, and I think he just thought, oh, she's so cute. But later on I found out he just felt really intimidated by me, and he didn't really know why. Like I was friendly with everyone else, not him. And like do I even listen to his music, whatever? He had all these questions, and I knew he was, and I liked a song here or there, but I'm not like.
You weren't a groupie.
No, because I was around these guys all the time, so he was just like one of the other guys, and we're just sort of cordial. we struck up a very casual friendship, like very casual.
Friends of friends.
Yeah, I had one night at talk, catch up, you know, but it wasn't like we'd have coffee dates or no, it was definitely not that. And I remember when we first had like a connection, even though it was platonic, it was the first time I heard him perform Danger, and it was like at Horror Cafe, and you know, and the worst thing is he remembers that day and he remembers that moment because he said he could see me at the back of the crowd. He said firstly when someone else was performing, I was like, my life, like my literal life.
Yeah.
And I don't remember who was performing before. And when they said he was going, I was like, okay, I'll listen. Let me go get a drink. You know, all those things that you do when
you're polite.
Yeah, I was just like, ugh.
Yeah.
And when Danger came on, I froze. I don't know what it was about the song, but I froze and I watched him perform it. And he later told me like he remembers that moment. He remembers seeing me.
Did you have butterflies when the song went on, or
I don't know. It just grabbed my attention.
Okay.
It really grabbed my attention, and I was like, wow, this guy's dope. And that's when I really started getting fully into his music. Like I knew his music and I bought it and whatever, but that's when I started really loving the music. I think it was the Umang album. And and then we continued quite cordially. And I remember when I did Big Brother. Hold on.
These things happen.
When I did Big Brother the first time, and I think he was one of the list of artists whose music I enjoy, and you know they played his music often in the house, and I'd always be like because for me it felt like a familiar place of safety and comfort and the outside world, you know. And then I won some strange head of house challenge in Big Brother, and they brought him in as my surprise guest. And it was like, and the worst thing is like then I was.
So you weren't dating and they brought him?
No, we were not even. We were just cordial friends. Like we were not even friends. I use it quite loosely. And I won this prize, and he came to the penthouse, but I wasn't that. I won that prize for like a guy that I was kind of like making out with, whatever. And that was great, you know. And then our lives started playing out like that. We'd always encounter each other, like
in social settings.
Yeah, and like. Or just like strange encounters, like all the time, like regularly, you know. And then one day my mom came back from one of her events that she was doing, and she's like, oh, I think I met the perfect guy for you. Like, I think I may have found the one for you. I'm like, oh yeah, who that? And then he says, him. I'm like, no, not that guy. No.
And you know him,
I know
so
that
you
guy. Like,
so
I'm like, just roll my eyes. And she's like, no, I really think that you guys, I was speaking to him at my event, I booked him to perform at my event, and he was so polite, and I'm like, girl, bye. Okay, girl.
And it wasn't
Goodbye.
like, it wasn't at all going to happen at that point when your mom was like, this is the guy. You're like,
it, like,
no ways.
yeah.
You didn't even more, you didn't consider it, you're like, hey man, I'm killing one, lady butterflies.
No, it was like,
nothing, like this.
Like, he was just such a nice guy. And also because then he was in a relationship, I didn't even think of maybe no, because that's not who I am, you know. So I just said, no, not that guy. He's a nice guy and everything. Like, he's a really great guy, but girl, bye. And in 2009, we happened to find ourselves both single.
So this is like 7 years after you met.
Yeah.
Okay.
We found ourselves both single, and we started chatting, and I knew he was single, so that's why I was kind of like, oh, he was a nice guy. The conversation on BBM back then was so great, you know. And then we're like, oh, okay,
status update.
BBM, we chatted. He made me laugh. He was really funny, and we started kind of hanging out loosely even then, you know. And yeah, like one thing. And we're together since 2009.
So from 2002 to 2009, did your mom have any other encounters with him? Like, did she see him often? Or
Not
was it
like
just sort
often,
of
just like, I think for her it was a once-off. It was their first like proper interaction. She knew him. She, you know, obviously women now she was strictly, you know, strictly come dancing, which he won.
Because it ties into my next question. The next question was going to be, when did you guys, you know, obviously start dating? Do you remember the day you started dating? And how long after that did you meet his parents and he meet yours?
I think I don't think it was a particular date where it's like, oh, please be my girlfriend. I remember the first time we kissed, and it was outside, like, Cool Runnings in Melville. Right? Do you see how long ago this is? It was outside after the jump off, and I think the jump off was on a Thursday. It was a great party, and I remember that day very clearly because I think it was very unexpected for the both of us to actually have, like, oh my God, what is that feeling?
Beyond friendship.
It was just like butterflies. That's when the butterflies came. You know, it wasn't because of anything that he was or musician. It was in that moment when we connected, and it was an overwhelming feeling because it didn't feel like all the other times I dated a guy or whatever. It just felt overwhelming. Like, okay, what is this? You know, and then I think I met his parents, or it was his mom. I remember that encounter, the first encounter. It was so uncomfortable.
So it wasn't planned by you two?
No, it wasn't. It
just
wasn't
happened.
Everything, we sort of let everything happen the way it needed to happen because we didn't want to also rush into things because even in how we spent time together, it was very cognizant of Leah. You know what I'm saying? And what I had said to him is that I don't want to rush and sleep over and wake up here or interact with too much and then confuse someone and then we don't make it. You know, I don't even know where that wisdom came from, but for me it felt like the right thing to do and he agreed. So we took it like really, really slowly in terms of interacting with our families or whatever. And I don't remember, I think I met his mom a year later, you know.
And what was awkward about that encounter?
What was awkward was, firstly I wasn't expecting it to happen, right? And I was coming from somewhere and I was going to somewhere else, and I was like, well, let me go to see my boo for a second, you know, just literally a drive-by. I wasn't going to drive in or whatever. And he's like, no, my mom is here, but I was like, no, then you come out, go chatting, and then I'll see you, and then I carry on. And then I drove this super spicy, like, vintage Mercedes Benz that was like a left-hand drive convertible, like
one of a kind,
literally, and it was just a beautiful summer's day and whatever. And then he came out.
Why does that sound like a movie scene again?
Babe, my life is a literal.
Again.
My life is a literal. Okay. God just, I think, just laid up my life so that a movie can be made because that's literally it.
Yeah.
So I pull up to the house and he comes out and, you know, like, all the blushy things and whatever. And I think his mom walked out of the house to do something in the yard or whatever. And he called his mother, you know. And I panicked because I'm dressed for like a summer's day. I'm wearing like shorts, like, you know, and the car, the top of the car was open. You know, I froze so much that I couldn't even get out of the car to greet her. I sat, my knuckles were white, gripping the steering wheel because I don't even know what I'm supposed to say. Like, how do I dress her? Like, you know, she's like a very like super cultured, very conservative. You know, Tswana woman. So I didn't even know how to, you know, I didn't practice, I didn't expect it, you know. I froze. I greeted her from inside the car because I froze. I was like, oh my God, she's gonna think this, you know, all those things. And that was the first encounter I had with her. You know?
And you you didn't die, you know, like you
that's what I thought as I drove. Okay, I got you. I didn't die.
And so when you drove off, he stayed at home. You didn't end up going together to wherever you.
No, we weren't going together. I just passed it to go see my man.
All right.
And carry on.
So and then obviously as time progressed, you've now met his mom, and then I assume that the natural progression was then
you meet the rest of the family.
You started interacting with Leano on a more regular basis, and then the rest of the family.
Yeah, I think it all sort of happened like around the same period where I met his sisters and his dad, and you know, it wasn't like something that dragged on. It wasn't like a 5-year gap between us meeting and him meeting his family. No, it was maybe a year or two at most where I had already now met.
And how would you literally describe the relationship with his family? Like just overall, everybody, not a specific individual. Just the overall.
Our relationship was so great.
Okay.
So that's why everything that happened post his passing was so surprising to me, because
so like a form of betrayal.
Yeah, and like I think
disbelief.
You know what it is. It's not even betrayal. It's shock.
Yeah.
It was sheer shock.
So it was a very good relationship.
Yes,
well, as good as a relationship with your in-laws can be.
Babe, and even better, because with his sisters we spoke all the time. You know, like you know, if I ever need anything, or if they ever,
casually started calling
and also
each other.
Because our age group were like the same sort of. You know, I'm the same age as the sister that follows him, and then he has a younger sister who's also around the age group of my sister. So you know, it was like it was great actually. I couldn't have asked for almost a better relationship almost in that regard. I didn't have like nightmare in-laws or you know, Nisi anything.
No animosity or bad tension, bad vibes.
None that I knew of.
And then are you in a position to take us on the journey through the Mahadi process? Like when did he, you know, was it formal? Did he say I'm sending a letter? Then after the letter was sent, was there the lot of negotiations that started? What kick-started that process or that conversation between first you two and then involving the families into that process?
So I think maybe 3 years into our relationship, he was like, I'm going to marry you, you know, and I was like,
you play too much.
Whatever. Like it wasn't even, you know, like work was so hectic, my career was flourishing, and he was obviously super busy, and you know, it was already hard for us to juggle our relationship because for the longest time we really kept it private for years actually. You know, and then we worked together. So for me, it wasn't anything that I was thinking of then, but he'd always say like, you know, when I do eventually go public or whatever, I'm going to introduce you as my wife, not as my girlfriend. I'm not going to go introduce a girlfriend out there. Like you're going to be my fiance or my wife. But that's just what it is, you know. And it was like, okay, cool. And then on my birthday in 2016, I think. My birthday's on the 31st of October. We're going to take a birthday trip, but he had to work. And he's like, okay, no, cool. What we'll do is we'll go just after your birthday and go wherever, you know.
Vacation.
Yeah.
So long before it had a name, you were already planning to vacation.
We've been vacationing since our first year, actually.
Long before it had a name,
you know? Way before. And he was like, okay, no, we're going to go on holiday. We have this thing where we choose a destination based on the things we want to do. And Amsterdam was the choice. We're like, oh, it's cold, but let's go see Europe. And, you know, I want to see the red light district. I've heard about it, might freak, you know, those kind. I want to tell you like the cool. Went to Amsterdam, had a really, really great time, and I think that and was supposed to go to Paris after Amsterdam. But when I checked the forecast, they're like, no, Paris is very foggy. Whatever. I'm like, I'm not going to Paris and not seeing the Eiffel Tower. Let me tell you.
If you can't get great
like,
content,
if I'm
then you
not
can't
going to
go.
see that Eiffel Tower, I'm not going.
Yeah.
And he kept saying, let's go. Let's just go. Let's just go to Paris. Please, let's go. I'm like, no. Like, it's foggy. We can't do any of the things we wanted to do when we go to Paris because we were doing our first time in France together. And I was like, no, we'll And he was very upset. Actually, very, very upset. And I remember the afternoon we got engaged. That morning, we were going around doing last minute things, and he just looked ill.
Where are we now?
And we're in Amsterdam, so we stayed in Amsterdam.
Okay.
This is our second last day. And he just looked ill. I'm like, what is wrong with you? He was flushed. And in my head, being the woman, I'm thinking, okay, at least we've got travel insurance. I'm even Googling like nearest hospitals. You know, do I need to, you know, all
now
those.
You're also trying to like retrace your steps. What did we
What
eat
did you
last
eat?
night?
Those kind of things. And he just looked ill. And I'm like, okay, you know, it's this guy. He can't die here. What I'm not going to do is explain how he died because I also don't know. And that evening, we're walking around and we saw this bar that was empty. It's like a very, very, it's almost Parkhurst-ish.
Yeah. Very
quiet, very small, no one in there. And we're like, let's go have a drink in there. It's so nice, so quiet. Let's go have a drink, have some shots. It's like, okay, cool. And we went in there and ordered, I think I was even drinking cocktails, taking cute pictures. And when
because we're not sharp.
Yeah, I'm not sharp. I can you know. And when I turn around, he looks like he's crouching on his knee, or like,
I'll show.
get it all shot, like, what's going on? And then it just happened, the moment and I'm like, what are you doing? I think like the shock was just, what do you mean? What do you mean? You know? And he was just like, you know, like, do you want to do this life thing with me? It's not gonna be easy, but I mean, like,
Let's do it.
you know, let's do this thing.
Yeah.
And I said, sure, let's roll.
Yeah.
And the way God has just such a sense of humor, there was no one in the place. There was no someone in DJ. No, like really great music, right?
So like in the movies again,
Babes. That's like God just wrote my script for
these
me.
stories, you know.
Instantly after he put the ring on my finger, and I'm literally, we've got a video.
And now there's no family involved.
Babe, there's no one.
Yeah. No, I'm
No,
saying
even
like,
then, I can say even that.
The
At
apples
moment.
haven't gone home.
No,
or whatever.
no,
The kids are
no,
still like
okay,
engagement.
nice.
Yeah.
You know? And I'm busy taking a video, like, oh my God, Beyonce, if you like it, then you should have put a ring. I swear on, guys, on everything I love. We were both equally sure. I'll show you the video after. It's insane.
Sure.
And so we were happy, and I didn't tell my family. I was like, we have to tell them in person. You know, my mom was gonna freak out because my mom loves Jabu so much.
But also she had, you know,
She's like, I
a few
told you, I
years
could
ago,
feel it.
hey,
She
yeah,
said,
hey.
and honestly, that didn't even plant a seed in my head to think, oh, maybe, because I dismissed it.
Mm.
Like, I would dismiss someone saying, oh, you know, I really dismissed it. And when we came back, we went to dinner with my family, and they were obviously very elated. And I think his family already knew at that point. And during dinner, he told my mom, like, okay, cool. I'm still gonna follow the correct process. Letter, blah, like literally follow, because he was very traditional. He was a proper traditionalist, so he really wanted to follow everything according to how it's supposed to go, and that's exactly what he did to the T.
So in that process, so basically I always try to advise women to have for example, their antenuptial contracts drafted before the lobola process takes place, purely because more and more we have tried to merge our African practices with Western practices, and there's no longer a place where we blur the line. And having said that, a lot of women are still of the view that unless Papa like white dress, they're not married, and unless Basainile, they're not married.
Yeah.
So everyone seems to disregard that after the lobola process has been finalized and there's been a celebration that has taken place, they've then met the requirements that satisfy a recognition of a customary marriage, and that they are in fact married under customary law.
And
they want to merge it with the That's where you find a woman saying, oh, I can't wait to be Mrs. Mang Mang. Whereas, no, ma'am, you've been Mrs. Mang Mang, and God forbid that something happens to him or to you before you guys get to signing a year later at your wedding, at your white wedding. Are you going to not want to have been regarded as the Makoti, as you rightfully are? And are you going to just walk away as a fiance after you've been recognized as Makoti and you guys are living together as man and wife? The question that I'm trying to ask is, did you know the nature of what was happening when that lobola process kicked off? And was your understanding that after the lobola negotiations have been finalized and and both our families are in agreement that this person is husband and wife, was your understanding that, or were you also waiting a year from now, got a white wedding? Was there ever a white wedding?
Our understanding was that we were married, and that's why we started referring to each other as my husband and my wife. And really, the white wedding thing was more of a celebration for our parents. They want, they want all the bells and whistles and we're the oldest kids for both our parents.
Okay, so both of you,
So we knew that they want that, all the palm and bells and whistles and whatever. But we knew that we were married.
Yeah.
We knew that. We definitely knew that. And we lived as husband and wife. And they regarded us as husband and wife.
So like you said earlier, that was why when the court case took place, when he passed away, and then there was then the issue of, I think the exact issue was that there had been no formal handover of the bride, like how Amkhela at his home, at Jabu's home. I think the main thing that his family was trying to drive was that a certain step of the whole process was skipped, therefore no marriage was concluded. And the court set that aside, saying through the intention of the parties, that aspect was waived through the action of the parties, and through them then calling you Makoti and referring to you as the wife. The court then set that aside and said there has been in fact a marriage. Can you take us through? Obviously, there was what you were going through. You didn't get a chance to mourn, if I can put it that way.
No, I'm still
because it was a high profile case, and there was everything that everybody else had to say. There was like literally your timeline, your posts were divided between people who were for you, women thanking you for standing strong and not giving up and trying to assert your rights. What was going on in your head through the trial? We touched on the aspect of betrayal or being in disbelief. What was going on in your head, and why didn't you just say, Mara, you know what, whatever, they're right, let me walk away? What made you not walk away?
Because I've never walked away from my husband or anything that we've been through. And I wasn't about to start then. And I wasn't about to be bullied. And I wasn't about to be erased from his life like I didn't exist. And I wasn't about to be disregarded and have everything that I have sacrificed and put in to making our marriage work, making his career work, keeping him alive through the depression. I wasn't going to have that disregarded, because those are all the things that I dealt with on my own as his wife. And all I was saying is, let me carry on dealing with what you guys expected me to deal with on my own as his wife. Let me carry on. That's what I was asking for. I was basically asking everyone to keep the same energy. That I wasn't asking for more of this, less of, no, it was not. It's never been about. I'm just saying, everybody keep the same energy. When I needed assistance, when I was begging for help, I was on my own. You know, so why must it change now because he's not here? You guys were not here when he was alive. Now, so what do you want? What is it that you're after? Are you after his money? What is it that you want?
At any point did you think that the resistance was coming through them, maybe thinking that you wanted a portion of his estate? Do you think they thought your reason for wanting to be recognized as his wife had anything at all to do with his estate?
Probably maybe that's what they thought, but they know better.
Yeah.
They know better that I'm not about the money.
And you were just
they know very well that I've never asked him for money, never used his money. It's never, our relationship, money was never like at the root of it. You know, I have a very good career. You know, I have my own things going on. I've always been financially sound. And even at points where he had asked me to be a housewife, I said no, because, you know, I love to work. And, you know, a musician's career is unstable. So a dual income makes things easier. 100%. You know, stress-free, and we just carry on. And if it was about money for me, would I not have taken out a policy on his life when I could already see that there's a downhill spiral? Would I not have done that? I intentionally even told my broker, who was also his broker, that I don't want to take a policy because I'm praying that it's not going to happen. If it was about money, would I not have done that? Gotten a Fed check by now and bought a new house, a new car, and everything by now? I would have. But they know it's not about money. They know very well it's not about money.
Sure.
And it's never been. The fact that I worked for my husband for nearly a decade without even a single paycheck.
And do you think if they had been, well, obviously with the benefit of hindsight, do you think if there had been a will in place, it would have made
there is a will in place?
Okay, really?
Yes.
And so where was the hostility coming from, or trying to you know, label you as not being his wife?
Because it just goes back, because the will has Liano's name only because he hadn't changed it. But as his customary wife, what does that mean? it means that either way the estate is split between the two of us.
Oh, yes.
He's the only benefactors are me and Liam.
Yeah.
And that's where.
But by virtue of being married in community of property, you still would have had your 50% share.
And that's why they don't want, I guess.
Oh, they didn't want you to have your 50%.
Yes, which
belonged
is
to you. Even if you had divorced, it would have belonged to you by virtue of being married in community of property. So I like that you said that, because then that brings us back to the education factor. I think a lot of the time why we find ourselves, especially as Black people, in the situations that we find ourselves in with our extended families or our in-laws, is because of the lack of education. So what I'm getting from this is that had his family known that by virtue of being married in community of property, your estate would have been split in half, the joint estate would have been split in half, they wouldn't have even had to fight you for your 50%. They would have understood that it automatically belongs to you.
That's the point. So I'm guessing, or what it seems to me is that any loophole, and maybe it's maybe their legal team advised them badly, or whatever it is, but that was not a good move. Was not a good move. You know what I'm saying? So because they know, and they know what it means to me to keep him alive. The same way I did in life, I need to keep his legacy alive. And for me, that's worth more than any money. That's worth more than any money that I could receive. Having his legacy live beyond even me.
Do you think the involvement of the media, obviously because of the person he is and he was, sort of made things more amplified than they really should have been? Do you think had you been Lerato and collegation would there have been so much, tension and so much almost like parties are trying to prove a point and
Probably not, because this happens to women every single day.
Every single day.
And every single day women try and fight.
When there's now like a high profile aspect to it, everything is magnified and you then become, I think you became the focus when you were not supposed to be. Like at that time, as a country, we were supposed to be mourning the loss of double HP, but you then became the focus and the vixen, when you shouldn't have been the vixen. One thing that I also wanted to ask was, my understanding is that the case is now going on appeal. I'm
going to the Supreme Court of Appeals.
And why is that? What is?
They're appealing the judgment.
I mean, obviously you're not the one taking. They're appealing.
Because I've got essentially the judge gave me. The thing is, I think it needs to be understood where this even stemmed from. For me, it was from the moment my husband died, and they asked them. Even the police, records asking Hore, marital status, for them to put never married is bizarre.
Sure.
So it means things like, my husband got buried without me seeing him. I didn't see my husband. I didn't.
You were a guest, essentially.
Barely even, and I'm an unwanted guest at my husband's funeral. Do you know what I'm saying? So the moment those kind of things, like, I haven't seen my husband's autopsy report. Because he's unmarried, so the family is the point of contact. They receive all the information, and for me it was, guys, fine, whatever, cool, but why are you not even regarding our union? And in disregarding our union, you're doing all the things that he didn't want. That funeral that happened was absolutely not what he wanted. To be buried in Mafeking was absolutely not what he wanted. It's not. And it's those kind of things that I was fighting for. If they think the focus is money, then they're very wrong. I was fighting for what my husband
for what you spoke about.
Do they know him better than me?
No,
there's no, I can say right now, there is no one on this God-given earth that knows Jabulani Zambo better than me. I can say that without flinching.
Yeah,
without even flinching.
Sure. So why are they taking the matter on appeal, so that the court can say you're not rightful, right? Sure. So on the previous previous episodes on my YouTube channel, I spoke about a recent Supreme Court of Appeal case. Came out on the 30th of September. The facts are very similar to yours, except in this in this specific instance, it's the wife who passed away, and the wife's family is trying to say that this wasn't the rightful husband, and when she was on her deathbed, the husband didn't come visit her in hospital. He's saying the reason I didn't come was because the brother, who is now obviously the father of the family, the brother of the wife, was the one who said, we don't recognize you as a husband because the handover ceremony never happened. Then they said, don't come to hospital and don't come to the funeral. We don't recognize you as a husband.
Exactly like me.
Exactly like you, except it's the woman who passed away. So out of fear for his life, because the brother was threatening him, he didn't end up attending his wife's funeral. And the Supreme Court of Appeal said, regardless of the fact that the handover ceremony didn't take place, but lobola had been paid, not in full, 9,000
No,
9,000 of the 12,000 was
if
paid.
you're a culture, you know what,
So that's what he's saying in the facts. 9 of the 12,000 had been paid, gifts were exchanged, and they did a white wedding. The only thing they didn't do was register their marriage at Home Affairs, and they didn't register with the traditional council. On the day they went to register it, the traditional councillor wasn't there. The court is now saying there's no ways these people could have done a white wedding if their intention wasn't to get married, first of all. Secondly, there's no ways that an exchange of gifts can be disregarded. They're also saying the in-laws attended each other's family funerals long before the wife passed away. So the merits of the case was the woman's family trying to say, we don't even recognize his family as a whole. And the court said, for all intents and purposes, these people are married. This is the Supreme Court of Appeal now saying. And one of the issues that I really appreciated of that case was the driving factor that we live in a society, a very colorful society. You can be Motswana getting married to Muzulu, I can be Mosotho getting married to Mubeli. How are we not going to develop the customary law in such a way that all our constitutional rights can be met? How are we going to disregard that you and Jabu were husband and wife because of a technicality? Surely the law needs to be, the customary law specifically, needs to be developed in such a manner that you as Lerato do not lose your dignity over a case such as this. And the court then said, for all intents and purposes, there was a marriage here. So without wanting to give a forecast for what could happen at the Supreme Court of Appeal, I just want you to sort of be aware where the law is at the moment. There has obviously been developments and other cases very similar to yours, which is now people have more fighting or staying power to see it through to the end. And I think this is exactly what happened with the most recent Supreme Court of Appeal case. So I really wish you all the best.
And I think the most important thing for me, and when I made the decision to go to court, it wasn't something that I
understand had to anybody.
Yeah, and it wasn't also something that I sat and thought about for hours. I just knew what was happening to me was wrong, right? I knew. And I've always been a believer my whole life that when you fight for the truth, that's all you need to fuel you. The truth is always enough. And like you were saying, this one was a high profile case, so many eyes were on it and whatever, but that's who Jabu was. His life was to change lives. And this is just another way that we are changing lives. Like, I mean, no one wants to, like, I can tell it's the most painful thing to go through what I went through and then go through it publicly and then still try and mourn and then try and, it's a balancing act. And all of that happened in the week of my birthday on top of that. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's a lot, but for me, and why I'll never cower, ever, is because I know women who've gone through this. I have friends who've gone through this. My mom knows women who've gone through this. My grandmother went through this.
Who can tell you that they don't know a woman who's been
there is
through
no
this.
one. And that's why for me it was a little odd that the people attacking me most were women. And all I said to them was, I just pray that you never go through this, or that your daughter never go, or any female in your family. But should they, who's the first person you're going to remember?
You.
Me. You. And you're going to know what to do, and you're going to know that you have rights, and you're going to know that you have to fight, and you will fight, and you will not cower yourself. So you can ridicule me all you want now, you know. Instead, to find peace in your heart, because you don't realize how big this is. I didn't even realize how big this was until I was in it, and when I was in it, I knew this.
I wanted to ask, did you understand the magnitude of this even on a legal landscape? Like, were you like, this is something that's going to be written in a court case at the end of all of this? Like,
no, and to be honest with you, I wasn't even expecting, like, to be dead honest, I wasn't expecting like massive media
coverage.
attention. I was not expecting it. You know, even the first I heard that the media even knew was when the affidavit or whatever that my lawyers handed to the other side's lawyers was in the papers and in the news the next day. And I was shocked. I was like, wait, how? You know, because I was hoping to do this, I swear, quietly.
Sure.
As quietly, literally as quietly as possible. Like, do it out.
TikTok,
Yeah, literally. You know,
So,
literally. And when that happened, I was like, crap, okay. You know, but I still didn't think it was as big as it was. In fact, I was thinking, okay, at least now other women that I know that are out there know that there's an option. At least you have an option to fight should you want to, should you even have the, because, you know, families do this because they know you're at your most broken. At your most broken,
vulnerable,
at your most exposed, at your most raw. You can't even really fully comprehend. Even on a normal funeral basis when you've lost your spouse, you can't think, you know. And I just thought, like, okay, if anything, you know, maybe one or two people will remember this and it'll be something like a ray of hope for women is what I thought. And when I got to the court, and it was like just cameras, like I was in shock. I was completely shocked because I honestly was not expecting a whole media thing around it. And I just thought, as I sat there, that's when I realized that this is bigger than me. And as painful as it is for me to be going through this, I'm a blessing in someone's life right now. This pain is a blessing, it's a lesson, it's a, you know, if anything, even before their spouse passes away, they know exactly what they need, the criteria, and make sure it's met, so that if they do have to fight, you know, because I wasn't like fully like checklisting type, honestly, you know, but my mom is, and not because of, oh, the law says this is what is needed, but because she's that person.
Yeah, and it's also, it is an agreement between two families. It's nice to have it recorded somewhere.
So my mom is that person. That's why I was able to win the first time, because she literally had proof of every single thing, from letters to us, letters to them, letters of we're coming, letters of acknowledgement this much is paid, all that she had. She had. You know, and now women know, I need to make sure I have this. If anything, let me scan these things, keep them on emails, keep them going. That's something, you know. And it took me losing the absolute love of my life, the absolute love of my everything, to teach millions of other women. And this is, I guess, you know, part of our joint legacy as husband and wife is like, you know, for thousands more years, we will still be the people that have changed generations of lives. And I think that's where I find comfort, that, you know, my pain is not in vain.
Sure. Wow, Lerato, thank you so much for your time. I'm overwhelmed, and I'm really grateful for you, you know. And like you said, I was gonna say in closing remarks, what would you want to say to women out there? But you've already said so, that you never used to be the checklist person. So I think what you also want to say to people who are about to go through the lobola process, you know, just have that thing at the back of your mind. Not that you're thinking for a rainy day, but have that thing at the back of your mind that there has to be some sort of, in the event that you find yourself in the other's shoes, make sure that there's a document, you know, that you can go back to, a date, a picture, a photograph, something, a recording that you can go back to say, this is my story and I'm standing by it, and this is what can corroborate my story.
Right. And I see ShopRite has the Lobola form
Yes,
now.
they now
and I
have
think
the
it's
Lobola
obviously
agreement.
off the back of my case,
Yeah.
which I think
100%.
is a
So can you see you what you went through has literally spiraled into a new era, and I mean, just 10 years ago we would have never imagined that there would be a Lobola agreement that is drafted by computer, just ready for all the parties to sign. Thank you.
So, yeah,
Thank you
we'll touch base
for
when
agreeing to this. Thank you for your time. Thank you for revisiting pleasant memories. There's definitely pleasant memories which I have no doubt you've been able to hold on to. And I mean, Loena Moling Moon, you're just like, but this was a movie. Everything, even up until today, do you understand that it still sounds and feels like
every single day
a movie? And I have no doubt that it goes without saying that you need a book. I have no doubt that
it'll be a 12 chapter.
Even 10 years from
It'll be
here,
a 12
we will,
chapter.
you will be a published author, just telling us your story and having sister-in-law, giving legal insights in your book.
I got you.
But yeah, just thank you for everything.
Thank you. And I think you're such a blessing.
Thank you.
Because there's so many, even my lawyer that I got was just a fluke. Like it wasn't like, I just called someone and she was like, let's go.
Yeah.
So, and she took me on without stress. You know what I'm saying? So you are yourself a blessing to so many. Many that even maybe issues that you didn't think affect you, when you see them, then you think, okay, cool. Let me keep that in my mind. Should I need that?
Yeah.
Things that we take for granted. So what you do is so important. So important. Like, please keep at it. We need more of y'all.
Yeah, thank you. I don't want to be emotional.
Thank you so much.
If I blink. Thank you, Lerato. Thank you. Oh, I'm so happy we did this.